And then they couldn't put dwarfs because this is just so typical of the left. The progressives always finding a way to find their way back to doing something not progressive. Disney's Snow White remake show that we are still in the thick of the culture wars. Oh, have you been following the Snow White?
Actually, the first time hearing of this.
Really?
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good for you.
Well, Rachel Zegler plays Snow White. I think Gal plays the. I was not a child, so I don't follow them. I don't know fairy tales. I never read comic books. But something it is.
Disney had a hit with Snow White, so why change it? Bill Maher mocked the remake for ditching romance, turning the princess into a bossy leader, and messing up the dwarfs. He roasted Rachel Zegler for trashing the original, while starring in a version nobody wanted.
Not that many scripts that come down the pike.
No, only 7 of them.
That has, and there's seven dwarf jobs here. But because I think it was Peter Dinklage said this is, this is not right.
With a $300 million budget and a weak box office, was this Disney's biggest flop? Maher thought so, and his takedown had everyone laughing. Well, to know all about this, stay tuned till the end.
I just mean that it's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be.
Disney had a golden ticket with Snow White, the 1937 classic with a sweet princess, a dashing prince, and those lovable dwarfs. But instead of sticking to the magic, they handed it to Rachel Zegler and told her to make it woke. Bill Maher wasn't having it. On his show, he tore into the idea with a smirk, calling it a fairy tale turned into a soapbox. He went on about how they ditched the romance and charm for a preachy vibe that's about as fun as a root canal. Zegler bragged in 2022 about skipping the sappy love stuff for a leader, Snow White. And Bill fired back with a scoff, calling her a middle manager with a power trip. He kept the roast going, poking at Disney's obsession with modernizing a story that didn't need fixing, turning it into something nobody recognized or wanted.
That girl might have no idea what I'm looking at. It's really quite wonderful to be a part of the Disney family, and obviously to join the league of so many wonderful live-action princesses, but also so many that have been depicted in animation as well. This is the flagship animation that made Disney what it is, and to be a part of that is such an honor.
Rachel Zegler's Got a Voice West Side Story proved that. But her attitude? Bill shredded it to bits. She'd been trashing the 1937 Snow White for years, calling it creepy and dated, like she's some cultural savior. Bill pounced with a grin, saying she acts like she invented princesses and didn't fix anything. She just broke it. Then came her 2024 Trump rant. She blasted his voters and wished they'd never know peace. Bill didn't hold back, joking that she dumped on half the audience and called it a smart move, genius. He kept the heat on, noting how her fake sorry after the backlash was so phony it could have been a Disney animatronic. Megyn Kelly called her a brat, ex-users boycotted, and Bill piled on, dubbing her the evil queen of entitlement, with a chuckle, pointing out how her big mouth turned fans away faster than you can say, "Mirror, mirror." Bill didn't stop at Zegler. He went full scorched earth on the movie itself. He nicknamed it Snow Woke with a sly grin, calling it a $300 million lecture nobody signed up for. He trashed the feminist overhaul, joking that they turned a sweet princess into a nag who'd fire the dwarfs for not meeting quota. The prince, reduced to a creepy nobody. Bill laughed it off, saying, "Prince Charming's now Prince Stalker. Disney's really selling the dream, huh?" And the dwarfs. He roasted Disney's flip-flopping, quipping about how they went from real actors to CGI glow sticks to diverse bandits. Pick a lane, Mickey. He called the whole thing a masterclass in how to tank a classic, adding with a smirk that a smug actress and a woke agenda were the perfect recipe for disaster. Bill kept the jabs coming, tearing into every change with a mix of sarcasm and disbelief that made his audience howl.
the son's name. He is speaking out publicly against Rachel Zegler and blaming her for the film's catastrophic failure at the box office.
Disney bet $300 million on nostalgia and Zegler's star power, expecting $150 million opening weekend. They got $43 million in the US. Bill couldn't resist, joking that my last dental bill did better numbers. He mocked the empty theaters, saying, families ran from it like it was a tax collector. Disney's own data showed a 60% drop in family turnout, compared to Cinderella's $67 million debut in 2015. Bill pointed at Zegler's antics, laughing about how she trashed the original and cursed out half the country, adding with a shrug that rudeness isn't a draw. Who knew? He kept poking fun at the pitiful turnout, noting how the theaters were so quiet you could hear the popcorn machine humming, all thanks to Zegler's off-putting vibe and Disney's misfire. The dwarfs got it bad, and Bill had a field day. Disney planned to cast real little people, until Peter Dinklage called it offensive in 2022. Bill snorted, saying they went from jobs for actors to CGI garbage, and called it progressive my arse. The glowing magical beings replaced them, and Bill quipped that they look like they escaped a bad video game. Where's Mario when you need him? After reshoots turned them into diverse outlaws, he deadpanned, now Snow White's running a gang. Guess hi-ho didn't fit the vibe. He slammed Disney's indecision, joking about 3 strikes, real dwarfs, fake glowies, bandit squad, and they still whiffed. Bill kept the roast alive, riffing on how every tweak made it worse, leaving the dwarfs a confusing mess that nobody...
Zegler is now apologizing. She writes in a new post, I let my emotions, get the best of me, and I am sorry, contributed to the negative discourse.
The soundtrack? Bill called it a crime against ears. The 1937 film had hits like Whistle While You Work, timeless. The remake's echo drones on about letting your voice ring out, and Bill groaned, asking, what is this? A self-help seminar with a beat? Mirror's Lie got no mercy either. He called it a queen whining for 5 minutes, and said it sounds like my ex-wife, but less catchy. Zegler hyped them as fresh in 2023, and Bill shot back, saying they're fresh out of ideas. Nobody's humming this trash. YouTube fans agreed, with one comment calling it a punishment. And Bill nodded, joking that Snow White's a musical, not a grad school thesis. He kept the digs coming, tearing into the song's clunky lyrics and dull melodies with a mix of eye rolls and sharp one-liners. In the original, Snow White's a sweetheart, cleaning for the dwarfs out of kindness. Here, she barges in and orders them around like a drill sergeant. Bill roasted it, calling her not grateful, and joking that she's got the dwarfs on maid duty while she lectures about empowerment. The prince is a shadow, and Bill jabbed, saying, they made him a creep because Zegler said so. Guess heroes are too toxic now. The evil queen's beauty jealousy, swapped for a dull power clash. Bill smirked, noting how Disney traded fairy tale magic for a boardroom squabble. Riveting. He kept the heat on, poking fun at how every change turned Snow White into someone you'd avoid at a party, not root for in a story.
Caroline suggested she seems to be quite impressed that it's this woke remake, and people aren't buying it. You know, you went through the figures earlier, but only 43...
Bill Maher had a lot more to say about Disney's new Snow White, and none of it was good. Fans on X joked that the movie felt like a lesson in communism, with Snow White sharing wealth like a revolutionary. Bill ran with the joke, saying, Snow White's out here quoting Karl Marx. Workers of the forest, unite. He laughed, asking if the dwarfs were about to take over the mining business. Then he added, Disney's so woke they turned a princess into a comrade. This movie is bleeding out. He joked that the film didn't feel like a fairy tale, but more like a college student's political rant. And with Disney set to lose a huge amount of money, Bill cracked, $300 million down the drain. Disney's accountants must be crying into their mouse ears. To make things worse, the company's stock fell 3% after the film's release. Maher smirked. Wall Street's looking at Mickey like, "What did you do?" Bill called her box office poison and joked that her next job might be selling apples on the side of the road. Social media was brutal, calling her the princess of flops. Bill agreed, saying she managed to turn a beloved classic into a laughingstock. He also pointed out that Disney's toys and merchandise were sitting unsold on store shelves, and executives were panicking over how bad things had gotten. But Bill wasn't done. He brought up Zegler's old comments about Trump, saying, "She didn't just burn bridges, she blew them up and danced on the ashes." He called her a public relations nightmare, adding, "Disney thought her attitude would bring in fans. Turns out it pushed them away." As for the film's woke story changes, Bill found it ridiculous. "This movie is so woke, it's practically asleep. Nobody wants a princess who lectures instead of sings." He even joked, "Did Lenin write the script?" and made fun of how the film's feminist message took away all the fun. Instead of making Snow White inspiring, he joked, "They smashed the magic with a hammer." What are your views on this? Do let us know in the comments section below, and for more such amazing videos, do subscribe to our channel.